Hi guys, I'm Diz and you are watching the SUV Battle channel.
This is a long-awaited comparative test of the Land Rover Discovery of different generations. Cars will have to drive the Rock Gate Trail, which consists of a series of obstacles. A steep climb with diagonal suspensions, the Rock Gate itself, an S-shaped turn with large rocks, and a long sandy hill. You can also watch how the new Land Rover Defender, Hummer H3, Toyota Land Cruiser, and the classic Defender drove the same obstacles by clicking the link in the description or the hint in the upper right corner. Now, let's get back to the participants of this video. The first obstacle is a climb with diagonal suspensions and a lot of small rocks. The 2003 Land Rover Discovery 2 with a 4.6-liter V8 gasoline engine and automatic transmission starts first. See how quickly the traction control system engages? The slippage is minimal and the Discovery 2 is driving forward confidently. And now, a full stop, so that no one can say that the Discovery 2 drove the obstacle using the momentum. A diagonal suspension and a good incline, the perfect combination. A rollback until the traction control system is activated, and then the mighty V8 does its job and the car completes the drive. Next one. The next in line is the 2005 Land Rover Discovery 3 with a 2.7-liter turbo diesel and an automatic transmission. The rock crawl mode and the low range are activated. The car slowly drives up to the obstacle, and then quite the expected result. Slight slip before the reaction of the traction control system, and then a confident forward movement even on three wheels. Full stop to eliminate the momentum. Throttling in the Discovery 3 leaves towards the finish line. Now it's the turn of the 2013 Land Rover Discovery 4 with a 3-liter turbo diesel. Like the previous participant, the rock crawl mode and the low range are activated. The car slows down at the obstacle course, and the responsive traction control system virtually eliminates spinning of unloaded wheels. Full stop on the climb and a minor rollback to create the most difficult position for the vehicle. But the Discovery 4, even with the right footboard on the ground, easily drove forward when the driver stepped on the gas and thus completing the course. By the way, I recommend subscribing to the channel if you haven't already done so, because the next video will be a big battle of mid-size crossovers like RAV4, Forester, the Sportage, Jeep Compass, as well as crossovers from China, Changan Uni K, Chery Tiggo, 8 Pro Max, and the Haval Dargo, so it will be very interesting. Okay, now let's get back to the Land Rovers. The next test is the Rock Gate, and the Discovery 2 starts first. The transmission is in the low range and the first gear. The car drifts to the right in the middle of the climb, but due to the powerful engine, an effective traction control system, and excellent underbody geometry, even sliding to the right from where some other cars could no longer drive and had to back out, the Disco 2 does not experience any difficulties and completes the test. An excellent result. Now, let's see how the Discovery 3 will pass the Rock Gate. Low range and rock crawl mode are activated. The smoother driving of the Disco 3 is visible immediately. The Discovery 2's powerful V8 reacted too sharply to the gas pedal. The car kept to the left side almost the whole time, and at the very finish line, drifted to the right. Slight slippage of the unloaded wheels until the traction control interfered, and the Land Rover keeps driving forward even along the most difficult line. By the way, the Discovery 3 slipped significantly less than the predecessor. Let's see if the most modern Discovery from this trio manages to stay on the left side. Low range and rock crawl mode are on. Precise climbing by the left side, but at the gate the car drifts to the right. Nevertheless, the Discovery 4 completes the test by this line with no trouble. Let me remind you how the new 2020 Land Rover Defender with electronically controlled central and rear locking differentials coped with this obstacle. In rock crawl mode, the response to the gas pedal is so smooth that it allows the Defender's driver to literally clamber up, finally dosing traction and choosing the best line. And 2 locking differentials working in automatic mode, and here we go with the best passage of the rock gates without drifting to the right, exclusively by the left line. Follow the link in the description to watch how this Land Rover Defender managed with the rest of the obstacles on this trail, accompanied by the classic Defender, the Hummer H3 in its most off-road version, and the Toyota Land Cruiser 76. Let's get back to our trio. They had just reached the uphill turn. Let me remind you that at this turn, the Nissan Pathfinder from the SUVs of the 2000s video had serious problems. The link to the video is in the description as usual. And now, let's see how the Discovery 2 copes with this obstacle. The transmission is in the low range and the first gear is on. The unloaded wheels slip prior to the traction control system working. The moment when it engages is clearly visible at the front right wheel. At first it stays idle, and then it slips, pulling the car up. A full stop to exclude the momentum. Throttling a slight slip of the unloaded wheels, and that's it. With a raised front left wheel, the Discovery 2 safely completes the drive. Now it's Discovery 3's turn. Low range and rock crawl mode is on. Unlike the previous Disco, the 3-Gen drove the first diagonal almost without slipping of the unloaded wheels due to the effective traction control system. A mandatory stop at half distance, and look at the positioning of the car. The unloaded wheels stretched out at their maximum travel, and the other 2 wheels are well clamped into the arches. The driver steps on the gas, and the car drives a couple of meters and helplessly skids with all wheels. An attempt to change the line was unsuccessful. A little rollback and another try. But the Land Rover Discovery 3 is still there. Roll back even more, and from the position of diagonal suspension, the Discovery rushes forward. But the result's the same. Another rollback, but now even further. The driver turns the steering wheel to the right and throttles. And here, the reason why Discovery 3 is stuck at this obstacle is clearly visible. The car clings to this rock with elements of the rear independent suspension, while the previous participant with the classic rear axle did not even notice it. Another rollback, and it was decided to take the maximum to the right, so that the ill-fated rock remained to the left of the car. But it's not so easy to do it. See how intense the slippage is and how spectacularly small rocks fly from under the wheels? Thanks to the diesel locomotive-like traction, the Discovery 3 coped with the obstacle and safely finishes to the delight of the owners of this generation of the model. the Discovery 4's rear suspension is almost the same with the 3rd gen, so there is a possibility that it will get stuck on the same rock too. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The low range and rock crawl mode are activated. The traction control system worked so quickly that the first diagonal had almost no effect on the speed of the car. The Discovery 4 passes the section where the Disco 3 got stuck, just putting the ill-fated rock between the wheels. By the way, the new Land Rover Defender also got stuck on this rock. It's strange why the Discovery 4 passed it so easily. I was tending to think that the reason was in differently sized wheels. The Discovery 3 has two 85/55 18s, and Discovery 4 is on two 75/55 20s. The difference in diameter is 40 millimeters, which potentially gives the Disco 4 an additional 20 millimeters of ground clearance. But the new Defender's tires are almost the same as the 4th Discovery, 255/60/20s. The difference is only 4 millimeters in diameter and 2 millimeters in clearance. Of course, in favor of Discovery 4. Did these 2 millimeters play such a key role? Write your opinion in the comments. And we're moving on. Well, here's the final obstacle, a long sandy climb. The Discovery 2 starts first. The tire pressure is 20 psi. The gearbox is limited by the 3rd gear. Intense acceleration and the Land Rover is rushing forward. One-third of the hill is passed, but the most interesting part is still ahead. The Discovery 2 reaches the middle of the distance, where the slope becomes steeper, the load is higher, and not every car can handle it. That is why there are so many traces of the exit from the main line. The Land Rover slows down, and you can see how the wheels are slipping, digging in the sand. The mighty V8 has a sufficient power reserve, which allows it to not stop on the slope and drive forward. As a result, the Discovery 2 successfully completed the conquest of this obstacle from the very first attempt. The next participant is the Land Rover Discovery 4 with a 3-liter turbo diesel. The standard driving mode is selected, the gearbox is in the drive position, the tire pressure is 30 psi. The driver steps on the pedal to the metal. The car accelerates so hard that it even skids when leaving the starting pocket. The Discovery 4 spectacularly flies past the operator, spreading the sand with beefy tires. And if the previous participant notably slowed down in this place, the Disco 4 does not even have a hint of losing speed. This Land Rover is rushing forward with maximum confidence. And of course, the Discovery 4 finishes safely. It simply could not have been otherwise, given how easily the car drove the whole distance. And now, let's watch the drive of the Discovery 3. The sand mode is activated, the tire pressure is 36 psi. Moderate acceleration at the start, and the car drives up the main climb. I don't know how fast it goes, but visually it's slower than the Discovery 4. I wonder if there's enough power reserve to drive through the most difficult section. But the key to success on the sand is not only power and speed, but also the tire pressure. The higher the pressure, the worse the grip. That is why the car almost stopped helplessly skidding and throwing sand from under the wheels. The Discovery 3 makes a U-turn to drive back to the start line, and the driver reported that before the next attempt, he would reduce the tire pressure to 26 psi. The car's positioned at the start point. The gearbox is in the drive position and the driving mode is sand. Tire pressure is 26 psi. Additionally, the vehicle stability system is disabled. This time the acceleration is a little more intense. Let's see what happens next. A good driving pace is maintained at the beginning to the most difficult part of the climb. But unfortunately, the wheels dig in again and Discovery 3 stops at about the same place as in the previous attempt. An attempt to continue driving was unsuccessful. The wheels are spinning and the Land Rover is standing still. The driver decided not to torture the car and drove out of the main line. Fortunately, there is a detour to drive up to the other finishers on the top of the hill. What conclusions can be drawn? The Discovery 2, despite its considerable age, for reference, this model was produced from 1998 to 2004, showed an excellent result. Good off-road geometry, although not the fastest, but quite an effective traction control system and a powerful engine. That's what you would need for a real SUV. Plus, classic front and rear axles make it easy to upgrade the suspension to fit larger wheels. This makes the second gen a very interesting platform to build your dream rig. The Discovery 3 showed the worst result in the test. It got stuck on an S-turn, clinging on a rock, and couldn't conquer the long sandy climb. Perhaps there was some kind of malfunction in the car because the Discovery 4, structurally not very different from the third generation, showed absolutely the opposite result. No problems at the third obstacle and an exemplary run on the final climb. Yes, it has a different engine and a more efficient traction control system. It would be strange if, with the change of generations, the capabilities of cars remained at the same level. Well, if coming to place is awarded to today's participants, then, according to the results of this test, the Discovery 3 took third place, Discovery 2 comes in second, and the Land Rover Discovery 4 took first place. The progress in the efficiency of the Land Rover Discovery four-wheel drive from generation to generation is visible to the naked eye. I wonder how strong the difference between the Discovery 4 and Discovery 5 will be. But this will be a topic of a separate video.
That's all I had to show you. Don't forget to write down your opinion in the comment section below. I'm Diaz. See you in the next video.